The grenade Damon Wayans pulls the pin on during the obstacle course rain sequence is painted blue on top. That is the universal military marking for an inert training device. These are 15 hidden details you completely missed in Major Payne. Number 15. The grenade Payne dramatically pulls the pin on during the obstacle course rain sequence looks like a live weapon. Look at the top of the prop the moment Payne raises it toward the camera. The tip is painted blue, the standard US military designation for an inert training device. Director Nick Castle either missed this or left it in the final cut. Either way, it reveals something important. The production brought in two formally credited military advisors, First Sergeant Leslie Speight and Lieutenant C. David Richards, whose involvement is documented in Variety's 1995 production records. Rewatch that obstacle course sequence knowing the most intense prop in the film is officially harmless training equipment. The military authenticity runs deeper than just the props. It shaped the lead character's every physical habit. Number 14. Damon Wayans' performance feels like pure comedic exaggeration, but the physical habits underneath it are rooted in real military consultation. Two formally credited advisors, First Sergeant Leslie Speight and Lieutenant C. David Richards, were on set to shape Payne's posture, cadence, and movement. Actor Stephen Martini, who played Cadet Alex Stone, confirmed in a 2025 podcast interview that Wayans was still building Payne's nasal voice during production itself. Watch Payne instinctively correct his cap after every confrontation throughout the film. That automatic adjustment is a real military behavior. Rewatch every drill sequence knowing those movements were coached by credentialed officers whose names appear in the production credits. The situation becomes more complicated when you look at who was almost written out of the film entirely. Number 13. Michael Ironside receives co-starring billing as the antagonist central to Alex Stone's storyline. His single remaining scene is the Parents' Day confrontation where Payne intervenes. That scene reads as self-contained because, according to production documentation, all but one of Ironside's filmed scenes were removed from the theatrical cut. Ironside had appeared in Total Recall and Top Gun, and his credit positioning here implied a substantial dramatic role. The edit reduced that to a single scene. Watch the Parents' Day sequence knowing an entire character arc was filmed and deleted around it. Rewatch Stone's subplot and notice how suddenly the resolution arrives without proper setup. The explanation is in the cutting room, not the script. That is not the only hidden removal in this production. Number 12. Major Payne presents as an original Damon Wayans vehicle. It is a remake of Universal's own 1955 Charlton Heston film, The Private War of Major Benson, based on a story by writers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher, who also created Leave It to Beaver. That original story earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Motion Picture Story. Universal remade their own Oscar-nominated property 40 years later, with Wayans and Nick Castle leading the production. Pause the opening credits and look carefully for the original 1955 writing team listed alongside the new screenplay team. Rewatch the entire film knowing every structural turn traces back to a Heston comedy from 1955. The situation becomes more complicated when you count exactly how many writers ended up credited on this production. Number 11. The script has a distinctive patchwork quality, and the credits explain why. Joe Connolly, Bob Mosher, William Roberts, and Richard Allen Simmons from the 1955 source are all credited alongside writer Damon Wayans, Dean Laurie, and Gary Rosen from the 1995 rewrite. 7 writers, 4 decades, 1 script. Film reviewers at release noted that no fewer than 7 writers were recruited for the story and screenplay. Laurie's previous credits before Major Payne were the slasher sequel Jason Goes to Hell and the dark comedy My Boyfriend's Back. Pause the opening credits and count the writing names in sequence. Rewatch the film's tonal inconsistencies knowing how many hands shaped each scene. The child actors on set were subject to terms just as specific as any writing contract. Number 10. Every cadet's shaved head in the barracks arrival sequence reads as a comedic initiation bit. It was a production requirement enforced before casting was finalized. According to interviews, child actors had to sign an agreement to be shaved before joining the Charlottesville, Virginia production at the Miller School of Albemarle. Nick Castle and Damon Wayans treated the gag as non-negotiable. One unnamed child actor reportedly agreed to the role and then refused the head shaving requirement and was replaced before filming began. Watch the barracks assembly sequence and look at each cadet. Those shaved heads are not wigs. Rewatch the arrival scene knowing the production turned down at least one actor to preserve that joke. The casting decisions throughout this film are more complicated than they appear. Number 9. Payne singles out one cadet and shouts that he is not the cadet's brother. That cadet is played by Damon Wayans, Damon Wayans' real nephew. Wayans cast him in the film and then built a joke in which Payne denies the exact familial relationship that literally exists between the two performers delivering it. The production credit, confirmed in Variety's 1995 documentation, lists Damon Wayans in the role of Cadet Dwight Williams. Look at the cadet Payne singles out in that exchange. The physical resemblance to Damon Wayans is visible on screen. Rewatch that moment knowing the denial is specifically funnier because it is literally true of the real people involved. The location where the entire film was shot carries its own hidden history. Number 8. Madison Academy reads throughout the film as a studio-built military school designed to suggest deep institutional history. Every building and ground you see on screen is real. The entire film was shot at the Miller School of Albemarle in Charlottesville, Virginia, a working private preparatory school founded in 1878 on a 1,600-acre campus. The same campus had been used 4 years earlier as the primary filming location for director Joe Dante's 1991 thriller Toy Soldiers. Look at the main building facade and the ground's architecture visible in any outdoor assembly sequence. Rewatch knowing the institutional weight of Madison Academy is not constructed production design, but a real 19th century educational facility. The cadets inside those walls included one performer making his very first appearance on any screen. Number 7. Tiger is the youngest cadet, and his scenes anchor the film's emotional core. The actor playing him is Orlando Brown, who was 6 to 7 years old during the 1994 shoot at the Miller School of Albemarle. Major Payne was his first on-screen credit, years before Family Matters and That's So Raven. By federal regulation, JROTC cadets must be in at least 7th grade, making Tiger's enrollment a deliberate impossibility that Nick Castle and Damon Wayans built into the premise. Watch Tiger in any formation and compare his physical size to every cadet around him. Rewatch knowing the character this film centers on is technically ineligible for the program the story is built around. The next hidden removal in this production is even more visible. Number 6. The theatrical trailer for Major Payne includes a scene where Payne holds a lighter under a barracks sprinkler, soaking the cadets in their bunks at night. That scene is not in the finished film. It is a confirmed deleted sequence shot during the summer 1994 Virginia production, included in advertising materials distributed to theaters, and then removed before Nick Castle and Universal Pictures locked the final cut. This footage has never appeared on any home release from Universal Home Entertainment. Watch the original theatrical trailer, then search for that moment in the movie it is not there. Rewatch knowing the most memorable promotional moment was cut before audiences ever saw it. A professional wrestler was hiding elsewhere in the same film, and most viewers who saw it in theaters never recognized him. Number 5. The enormous biker the cadets hired to physically confront Payne looks like a casting call find for intimidation. The performer playing him is Scott Bigelow, professionally known as Bam Bam Bigelow, a headlining professional wrestler who main evented WrestleMania the 11th just weeks after Major Payne's March 24, 1995 theatrical release. He is credited under his given name Scott Bigelow, which is why most viewers never connect the two. Watch the biker confrontation and look at the visible flame pattern tattoos on the performer's head. Those are Bigelow's real wrestling career tattoos visible throughout the scene. Rewatch knowing a top WrestleMania headliner from 1995 is in plain sight during the film's main action sequence. The next performer hiding in this cast built an even longer Hollywood career. Number 4. The cadet constantly reporting ailments during physical drills is a recurring comedic background presence. The actor playing him is Chris Owen, who would go on to play Sherman in American Pie. 4 years later, in 1999, Owen was a teenager during the 1994 shoot at the Miller School of Albemarle. The nervous energy he brings to Cadet Wooliger is the same comedic register he would amplify into his breakout role. Watch any training sequence and find the cadet who halts mid-drill to explain why he cannot continue. That is Owen, 4 years before American Pie. Rewatch those training scenes with that knowledge and the performance reads completely differently. According to Stephen Martini, the film's ending also exists in a version no audience has ever seen. Number 3. Major Payne ends on a resolution that audiences have always accepted as definitive. In a 2025 podcast interview, Stephen Martini, who played Cadet Alex Stone, confirmed the existence of a filmed alternate ending. That version has never been released by Universal Pictures and has not appeared on any home video edition. Martini also confirmed that a sequel, which would have reunited writers Dean Lorey, Gary Rosen, and Damon Wayans, reached serious development before both projects were shelved. Watch the theatrical ending knowing a different version was filmed at the Miller School of Albemarle with the same cast. Rewatch knowing the conclusion you have seen was one of at least 2 filmed options. The critical reception masks a different reaction from an audience that never stopped watching. Number 2. Major Payne sits at 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, calling it a smart approach to the drill instructor genre, and crediting Damon Wayans with building a comic character from narrowness and blind commitment. The film opened at number 2 behind the thriller Outbreak on March 24, 1995. The publications that dismissed it and Ebert were responding to the same exact film. Ebert's syndicated review is among the most substantial positive critical responses any 1990s Universal comedy received from a major publication. Read his review alongside any dismissive contemporaneous review, and the gap in critical interpretation is striking. Rewatch knowing the 29% score does not account for Ebert's serious defense of the film. A different audience has kept it alive for 30 years. Number 1. Major Payne earned a 29% critical score at its March 24, 1995 release. That is not the story the film tells now. Inside the Marine Corps, the film has been quoted between generations of active service members for 3 decades. A striking fact given that Payne's cadets are formally enrolled in an Army JROTC program. Military accounts have documented how specific lines entered barracks culture and training language. Wayans discussed the film's legacy in 2025, and the anniversary prompted service members to confirm its standing. Watch any drill sequence and then read any Marine Corps account of the movie. The gap between critical dismissal and military adoption is the most unexpected detail in this production. Rewatch with that knowledge and every scene looks different. Major Payne was built on a 1955 Oscar-nominated story, shot at a real school with a co-starring role cut in the editing room and its most memorable trailer scene removed, before audiences saw it. Every moment contains a hidden decision. Watch it again. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?